go from there. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Linda Brubaker, and this is Career Search Lunch and Learn. Excited that you all are here. I am a career transitions coach, and I've been doing this now for the last 9 years. One of the things that got me into this field is the fact that I've got over 30 years of experience in HR. As an HR business partner or a recruiting manager, I managed recruiters inside and out. I've been what we used to call a headhunter, now it's called an executive search consultant, and I've been a hiring manager. So I know how job search works, how career search works from all sides of the desk. And I get excited about sharing those insights with you. Because my goal, I know you really don't want to be here. My goal is to give you the tips, the tricks, the group coaching in these settings, the networking and the support to help you move from this group into your next forever job. This is my give back. And as I said, I've been doing these lunch and learn sessions now for 9 years. I will put my contact information in the chat, including some information. If you've decided you're ready for some one-on-one coaching and you'd like to do that, I'll put that in the chat. If you just want a quick conversation, I'll put that in the chat too. So there are lots of ways that you can get in touch with me, that I can support you. Those initial chats, those are my give back to you as well. But if you want one-on-one coaching, that's one of the things that I do as a way of supporting this group. Putting all that in, and now I'm going to let Sue introduce herself too. We tried something new last week. Sue, you want to talk about that too?
Which new last week? I can't even remember.
So we talked a little bit.
Oh, the skill. Oh, yes. Thank you. I had forgotten to link it to that. I'm sorry. I got myself overwhelmed yesterday. No apology zone. So here's the thing about your tip, and I will write it in the chat as well. And it takes a leap from last week when we talked about endorsements. Here's the good news. I think I got to a lot of you. I couldn't get to everybody who generally asked for endorsements. And if you put 4 or 5 things in, I tried to do them all. So my tip for you all is, as you asked for those, and I know it wasn't a direct outreach to me in a LinkedIn DM, which is sometimes how we get them, but anybody who gets an endorsement, and I believe LinkedIn still tells us this, you should at least get one message from LinkedIn. Okay, now the bad side of it is, I made a note to get to Kevin Turner and John Ospirian on this, because I've been meaning for years to ask, why don't they tell me all the skills that you endorsed me for? It doesn't, unless they've changed it in the last month. But you can use this also as a way to network, like someone who I saw earlier today on another meeting, I knew I might see her here, could say, it was great, thank you, I know you endorsed me for at least one thing, and some of you, I think, did that, let me know. So it's always useful. I'm not saying I need to be thanked. I'm just saying it's an opportunity. So the tip is, thank people who gave the endorsement. And if you want to be memorable, ask them, what 3 skills can I endorse you for? That is the link to skills. Last week went to endorsements, why skills, endorsements support our skills. So thank you, Linda, for making the connection again. Yes, we will do it every week when I'm here and when I'm not. Hopefully, Linda, I will put more tips in. They're all down on a piece of paper right now that we'll go forward with.
I know I haven't added mine either. It's April 1st, which means that it's a lot of things, including the fact that for me, Passover starts tonight. So
yes, right.
It's not only spring cleaning, for me, it is house cleaning, kitchen cleaning, really more than anything else. But one of the things that Passover tells us is that it's a holiday where you're encouraged to ask questions. And in my tradition, we ask questions all the time. No questions are out of line. And one of the reasons that I'm saying that is that's what today is all about. It's asking those questions. No question is off limits. No question is one that shouldn't be asked, okay? Other than the ones that you think, oh, I really can't ask it. Yes, you can. Please, yes, you can. So we're going to ask all of those questions in a moment. And I wanted to go back to Sue's idea about the endorsements. For all of you who did that last week, if you were here last week, in our private group, we have an ongoing chat message, okay? We pulled those endorsements out of the chat last week. We added extra people to it as you go along. If you weren't part of that and you want to add your request for endorsements, do it as a comment on that post in the private group. Make sure that you're giving us your URL when you're doing that so we can easily find you. And if you haven't been able to see that people are endorsing you, remember, go into your settings, okay, on your profile, in the skills section, the 3 dots, enable all 3 endorsements settings. That will let you know not only that other people can endorse you, okay, but it also says that you'll get a message if somebody endorses you for something. Sue's tip about sending messages to people, going out and asking for endorsements with the idea of, I'm revising my own profile in the skill set. What kind of things would you like me to endorse you for? Ask first. Okay. Looks like you're getting into this area. Would you like me to endorse you for this? And what other things would you like? Endorsements are easy. Okay. This is a LinkedIn Don't Listen. You don't need to know whether or not somebody's actually done it. You're unfortunately just clicking a box, but LinkedIn values that click. So in terms of your profile and getting found, endorsements are important. Please do those, share those. Let's continue that chain as we're going along. And yes, Scott, I agree. Thank you to everybody who's endorsed people. There were a number of people who did it, who asked for them. They should have gotten at least 5 endorsements from probably 15 to 20 people or more, which was a nice thing. If you're new to the group, you should know 2 more things. Yes, your endorsements can only be done if you are a first level connection, which is another reason to connect with people in the room and to reach out to your own connections to ask for those endorsements. You're looking for at least 5 endorsements for the top 10 things you want to be found for. Okay, so please do that. Next. We're going to start with quick wins in a moment, but I want to remind you all that one of the things we did last week was we said that we keep running over. So in order to help block my calendar, and maybe yours as well, we decided to increase the length of these meetings. We may not go the full time each time, but at least this way I know that I have it blocked on my calendar and maybe you do too. Based on what we did in the room and the questions that we asked and the people who DM'd me, I've decided that we're going to go from 12 to 1:30 Eastern time. You can make it all, that's great. We're going to see whether it works better to do that, whether we're getting some response that way, or whether we need to make a shift at some point and go to the 11:30 to 1 to see which works better. Some meetings we may just go for an hour, but this week we're scheduled for the full hour and a half. So if you want to stay, please do that. All right. We start these meetings with quick wins. If you have a quick win, please, I already see a couple. Raise your digital hands and let us support you and share with you. Barry.
Oh, there. Well, I had 2 interviews this week. One interview was found via LinkedIn.
Okay.
I didn't for the past 2 weeks. I've been tweaking my headline and my about section, but lately I've been getting more hits on my LinkedIn profile, so I'm not going to touch it no more for a bit.
Excellent. Well, you can keep touching it because every time you play with it, it changes. Okay, you
Right.
get moved up to the top of the list.
Right. And my next interview I was found via Indeed. I was about to apply for a job. I said, "Hey, Kevin, here's a job you're qualified for, and schedule an interview right away." And so I did. I got an interview tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Excellent. For what kind of a job?
As an implementation consultant, it is a PM type of role. It's with a company called Paylocity. So I mean,
Double
give it
check
a
and make
shot. See
sure
what you
that
have.
it's a real job.
I did. It is.
Okay, good.
As the interview is being done via Indeed, and
Wait,
so it's
wait a minute. The interview is being done on Indeed?
yes, it is.
How do they interview you on Indeed?
Indeed has some kind of a video chat there.
That's new then. I haven't seen that before.
I've I've done it a couple of times.
Okay.
So yeah, it is legit. I've interviewed on Indeed a couple of times. So that's my quick wins for this week.
Excellent. Congratulations. Keep us posted.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, I'm having some trouble here with spotlighting people. There we go. All right. So, is that Shannon? Nathan, I can't see your name. You got the dragon up on the screen?
Kayla.
Kayla, sorry about that. As I said,
That's
I'm having trouble with
okay.
the
It's
screen.
Shalia.
Shalia,
Oh, thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Would you like to
So-
share your quick win?
Yeah. So I've been following the Chef Ann Foundation. They do trying to get fresh scratch cook food into schools, and have been doing an awesome job. They put something up on LinkedIn. I made a comment about it, about like, this is amazing, because it was like 97% of food workers in schools are women. So I made a kind of lengthy comment. Then they commented back. Then somebody else that happens to work for them, I saw that they had posted something, and I said something to them, and now we're going to meet in a week and a half and talk. So like, that feels good because it's in the industry that I'm excited about.
That's perfect. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, that's great. So those comments really do help. It doesn't have to be a specific job that you're talking about, but the fact that you've got that comment going, that's a big thing. That's how you make yourself known. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I'm having trouble with the spotlighting. I apologize, not sure what's going on here, but we've got Jack now. Jack, you're also relatively new. You said this was your second time.
Yeah, it's my second time. But my quick wins are, let's see, this week I got promoted to acting store manager at my Mavis store, which is great. So now I get to drive improvements, which we desperately need because we're high traffic and we have a bad reputation. So we're going to fix that. And I have a target company that I've been targeting for like 6 months now, and I just found 2 opportunities which my resume is absolutely built for. So I just shot out some resume applications to them just this morning. So I'm really hoping.
Congratulations. Now, 2 jobs at the same company at the same time.
Yeah,
Can be a little-
two slightly different senior manager roles. Yeah.
Okay, so did you put a separate cover letter for each?
They didn't ask for a cover letter, but I did have a separate little note to the hiring manager. Yeah.
Okay. So when you're applying for 2 jobs at the same time, the company at the same time, that can be a little tricky for them. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that when you're doing that, there's some differentiation. Unless the jobs are the same, really, really close, okay, just different departments, then it's okay to have the same resume, the same cover letter for both. If not, then I might actually wait one day in between the submissions, because you want to make sure that there will probably be different recruiters for both, but no guarantee. But you want to make sure that they're looking at you for that specific job. So even if you're applying on the same day, your resume should be slightly different for that job if you can in the system. And you need to make sure that even if they're not asking for a cover letter, you are including a cover letter as a page of your resume if they don't give you the option to do it another time, any other way. Cover letters really do work, okay? Especially if what that cover letter does is it differentiates you for this job. Your cover letter, by the way, should not be, oh, I'm interested in this job. Here is 1 or 2 things you should know, and you're just copying and pasting from your resume. That doesn't do you any good. Your cover letter is your opportunity to introduce you. It's the pre-answer to why me, why this job, what I can do for you that nobody else can. And oh, by the way, here's the best way to reach me. I'm looking forward to the conversation. It's your soft close. If we're talking sales terms, you're already assuming that they're going to call. You're giving them the reason why and telling you how to do it. Okay, so please do that. Perfect.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have a quick win? Anybody else new, Sue, that I missed? All right. Then what we're going to do is, let me see if I can find you again, Jack, so that I can remove that spotlight. There we go. All right. If you've got a question, now's your chance. Do we have any questions started already in the chat? So you have to unmute.
Yeah, Joanne has a question if she can. I think she's on video. And I want to salute you all. Over 2/3 of you, at least 10 minutes ago, were all on video. Yay, everyone, for keeping your cams on. I've noticed. And they're all well positioned.
Yeah.
We don't have people looking like this, which is occasionally what we get. So,
Linda just answered my question about the cover letters.
Okay.
oh, okay. Do you want to
Yeah.
share it for the recording so that we can capture that?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I get sometimes conflicting thoughts about the cover letters, whether to include them or not. So I was just asking if we should include them.
Yeah. So Joanne, I think you really should each and every time. And the reason is that the cover letter gives me additional information. Now, I'll be honest with you, not everybody's going to read them, but everybody's going to see that you took the extra time to do that. The ATS will read it, okay, in addition to your resume. It's just a part of the whole process. So it will go there. But what that cover letter does is it tells me why you are a fit for this role, why you want this role. It gives me some additional information to hang my hat on as to why I should reach out to you. I will tell you that in many cases, if people are on the fence as to whether or not to talk with you, and you have a cover letter that gives me some of that information, that's what moves us from to yes. Let me make that phone call. Let me find out more. It will never, ever hurt you to do a cover letter.
I have two things to add to that, Linda, which are interesting perspectives when we think about it. Number one, if the cover letter is not requested, you attach it to the back of your resume, and guess what? That gets scanned by the ATS.
Absolutely.
And number two, when you write a cover letter, it's you preparing your summaries and your stories as opposed to the reverse chron order that we all have to follow in a resume. So it's your prep as well. Don't forget how much that's going to help you.
Absolutely.
And the latest stats last year confirm the stats for the last 4 to 5 years. 25 to 30% of job postings ask for it. 25 to 30% say you can do it or not. And then the last, it's not quite a third, or it's over a third, is they don't necessarily say anything. So it doesn't hurt you in any way. As long as you have to upload one file, you can always get both docs in one file.
Absolutely right. And it does make, absolutely. Okay, I see another hand here.
Yeah, Joey.
Yeah, Joey.
Everybody.
Hi, everybody.
I had a question on LinkedIn about it appears to be a CRM kind of tool. It's called Job Tracker. Within, if you go to the job section in LinkedIn, there's something called Job Tracker there, and you can add posts or job openings from within LinkedIn to it. It looks like you can track it. I was wondering if anyone has actually used it. It looks kind of basic, a very basic tool, but doesn't have to be.
Jack is shaking his head. Yes, maybe I haven't.
Jack,
I
haven't
heard
used it.
about
Want to talk about it,
Yeah.
Jack? Because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, he's right. It kind of is a CRM thing. Basically, when I go through on LinkedIn, I pick the jobs that I'm the highest rated for and then evaluate it to my resume. And I use ChatGPT for that actually, because I have my resume in ChatGPT and I have the job description and I evaluate the two. And if I apply, I say yes, I applied, and it holds on to that. And then later on, if I get a rejection letter or if I get an interview, I can change its status in there, and so it'll help track what's going on with them, and it'll give me an overall count too.
Interesting. Okay, so is that a free tool or is it paid only?
Yeah, it's free. Everybody can use it. Yeah.
I just
I'm
found
glad.
it.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I just found it just the other day. And I was like, oh, what's this? And I just, oh, what do you know?
Yeah.
Even just to add to it, it also tracks how many jobs you have applied for. And if you save, like, sometimes I'm on my phone and I save that because I want to use my laptop. So you can always go back and reference to it and then apply to those.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I'm glad you pointed that out. I would suggest, I think we recommend at least once a year, but twice a year you should download your LinkedIn, your complete LinkedIn. I'm going to go to mine because I just downloaded it today and check and see if that comes up. Because if I were you, because I want everything on my hard drive and I want to put it in Excel, I want to download that information. Maybe I can block and copy it, but I'm wondering if they do it because last year they were able to start using their own stats on how many people are applying
Yes.
through LinkedIn. And we all use this for free. Linda and I've used it for free forever. So that's our tax, if you will, our payment. But I want you to be careful about not waking up one day and suddenly LinkedIn decided only 3 people are using it. We're not going to maintain this anymore. So just be aware. If it's not in the database, definitely you want to keep track and copy it. But it sounds very, very useful while you're feeding them the information they want to know about their 1.3 billion people.
Right. And just remember though, when you're looking at the job stats in terms of LinkedIn, you see a job come up and it's X number of people have applied. It's not. It's X number of people have clicked into the job to see more about it. So don't be intimidated by those numbers. That job tracker on LinkedIn sounds like it could be a useful tool. And I like the idea of actually, though, being able to download it yourself because you can do more with a spreadsheet in terms of your follow-up. Who do you want to contact? Where did this actually go? Okay. Is there a connection here? Have they posted another job that might be useful? Am I commenting on their posts? Your own tracker might be useful, but that piece is a good piece of it. I don't think that it's necessarily, you may not find that it's necessarily the only piece of information that you want in order to be doing that, but that's a great tool. Thank you. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah.
Next question.
We have TJ and Andrew. I assume you're.
Yep, I'm looking.
Yep.
Okay. So TJ, go ahead.
Okay, so if here's something I've been thinking about. I want to get your opinion on this. You say a resume should be no more than 2 pages, but if the ATS is reading the resume, does it really have to be no more than 2 pages?
Yes. Well, for the ATS, no.
No.
Me? Yes.
Yes.
Remember, you're not just writing it for the ATS, TJ. You're writing it for me.
Okay.
Okay. And for me, you really need, in fact, I actually did a post about that this morning. You need to be able to do it in a way that's easy for me to read. Be realistic. We don't go beyond, okay, what we see initially. So you have to grab my attention on that resume in the first 2 to 9 seconds, which means that first quarter to third of a page. ATS doesn't care where the information is. Me, the dummy on my side of the desk or the screen, I absolutely do. If I can't see quickly how you match my job, I'm not going to read further. And I will be honest with you that most people are not going to go beyond the first page in terms of your resume unless they're really, really intrigued. But that second page is going to get a skim, which is why you're front loading all the information that's important up top. The only time that I recommend actually going beyond 2 pages is if you're doing an academic resume and you need to list publications or speech presentations, or if you're doing some sort of a research presentation, a research resume, and you want to list some of those as well. But otherwise, the rest of that information isn't necessary. Think concise, think complete. Think about what somebody else really needs to know about you for this job. Making it only 2 pages, by the way, helps you consolidate and makes you more aware of what you're doing for them, not just everything you've ever done. Because honestly, we don't care. We care about what you can do for us. And the way that you do that is by focusing in on what's important, how you fit this role, not just any role. And 2 pages should be more than enough to do that. Thanks for the question, TJ.
Okay.
All right. Andrew.
I might be offered a job the next couple of days. And I realized I gave a lower salary than I want. After I gave my salary, I calculated the hourly pay, and it's way lower than I want. How do I bring it up to get it back up again?
So tell me where you asked for the money and how you asked for that information.
He asked me how much do I want, and I said 50,000, and he said he'll look into it.
Okay, what level of interview are you in, and who are you talking to, internal or external?
Internal
Okay.
recruiter, and the second interview.
Okay, so when you go back to them, okay, and I would wait until they bring it up again. Okay, at which point, when I told you the initial dollars, that was based on what I knew then and what you knew about me at that point. Now that I know more about the job and what you're looking for and everything that I can bring to it, and based on my research for someone with my skill level, I was really looking more in line up and then raise it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's one of the reasons we try not to give a salary to start with. Okay. And when you do, it's always in the phrase of based on what I know now, I think I might be looking at something in this range. Is that something you can work with? A better way of phrasing it, if you can, is why don't you tell me what the range is? And I'll be happy to tell you if I can work within it. Throw it back on them. Or what's the budget? Okay, depending upon the level and who you're talking to, I guarantee you, they know what the budget is. They know what the range is. And in many cases, they're trying not to tell you that information because they want to lowball you and make themselves look good for the manager, right? But the way you phrase it, and you want to do your research, okay? If your salary is not based on what you earned before, your salary should be based on what you bring to the role.
Okay.
Okay, so do your research. Salary.com, payscale.com are both good sites to look at. The reason that I like both of those is they are based on salary information from employers, as opposed to Glassdoor, which says I'm reporting, telling you what my salary was, what my range was. It may be a year out of date because they only do those surveys every 2 years. And you may have to do a little bit of fudging to see what really works, but it gives you some information that you can rely on and that people can say, you can go to them based on the research I have done on, okay? Talking to peers and people in the industry, this is what, okay? As opposed to, hey, here's what I want, because I think I'm worth it. And you are, we know that, but we're trying to give you ways of justifying that. The other thing is check to see whether or not your state lists what the salary range is for the job. Andrew, what state are you in?
South Carolina.
Okay. I don't think South Carolina requires it yet. There are a number of states that are. So check, do a quick cost of living check between South Carolina and, say, Colorado. The reason that I'm saying Colorado Colorado was one of the very first states to implement the requirement for reasonable pay scales listed on every posting. And they've been very good about enforcing it. So it really is a reasonable pay scale. It gives you an idea of what that job is worth in other areas. And you can use that as, again, part of your research. Not, I know this job is worth this in Colorado, but it gives you that range that you can start working from.
Okay.
Okay. Good. Thank you. Thanks for the question. Good luck. And by the way, salaries usually negotiable. Not a lot necessarily, but you can ask. Okay. Especially if you can get them to give you a range. Hi there. What's your question, Alexandra?
So it's not a question, it's more of feedback. And I'm not sure if this is the job tracker on LinkedIn, but LinkedIn now allows you to, after you see a job, something resonated with the role, you save it, then you could add notes to it. So I use it, for example, to, if I have like 10 connections there, to make sure I reach out to them. Or if something is in educational, I'll just write education or tech. So that's like something new I noticed over the last few weeks. It could be more, but they never had that before.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. You can do it there, or you can add it to your own spreadsheet if you're using it. So however you're tracking it. But the idea, absolutely keep track of it. See what thing seems to be resonating with people based on what you're sending out. And make sure that you're tracking your follow-up, that you do have that follow-up too. Great tips. Thank you. Okay, who's next? Joanne, is your hand up again, or is that?
Yes.
Okay, you want to?
I just wanted to address what Andrew was talking about. First of all, I live in North Carolina, so I just did a quick Google, and neither of the Carolinas require price transparency on job listings. But one thing that I was taught is with salary negotiation is to approach it from, well, like everything's negotiable, depends on the package. Do you provide health insurance? How much do you contribute? What do you match for a 401k? Like I look at a total package. That's what I was always taught to say.
Absolutely. So it is definitely the total package, but you have to decide when you go into any kind of a salary conversation. Okay. And Joanne, I'm trying to put you up on screen, but I don't see your picture on again, and I can't do that. There you go. Yeah, I can only add you as a spotlight if your camera is on.
Got it.
Okay. So yes, it is the total package, and you want to know what that is. But don't undersell yourself either in terms of salary. Now, I'm going to tell you that salaries right now are not great. We are finding, unfortunately, that even if you're within a company, you may not get a huge raise. And by huge, I mean, they may not even be as much as 2 to 3%. And they're going to be more across the board than based on merit in many companies. They're actually calling it a peanut butter raise, where they're spreading it out the same amount, the same amount over everybody, because when you've got such a small pot to work with, it's easier to do it everybody gets the same kind of thing.
I am in my job for a little over a year, and I am still technically a temp.
Yep, and that's not unusual.
And there's no movement.
Yep.
But
and unfortunately, Joanne, I'm seeing that that's going to be the same. I'm seeing a lot more temp jobs. I'm seeing a lot more contract jobs. And I am seeing from a salary perspective, and I know this isn't what you want to hear, but I'm seeing salary levels go down in terms of what people are actually willing to pay. So that, again, off the top of my head, let's say that you were earning 50,000 here, new company may say that job is now only worth 45. the market unfortunately has changed. So looking at that total package is a good thing.
Yeah, I mean,
But
that also happened when moving from Massachusetts to North Carolina. I mean, that was a geographic, same thing.
Right. Right. So it's not based on what you used to do. It's based on what the value of that role is to the company, which is what asking for that job is. Here's another tip if you're trying to negotiate and if they're willing to tell you what the salary range is. Okay. And they're offering you something lower under the range. Why don't you, I'm curious, what would you be expecting from somebody at the low end of the scale versus somebody at the high end?
Like
What
that.
differences do you see in terms of performance or outcome? What are you looking for? And then when they tell you that, every answer from then on, including that part of the negotiation, is you're bringing X, Y, and Z, and it's all focused at that high end. Okay.
Like
So,
it.
lots of tips and tricks, right?
Yeah.
We're trying to help you succeed.
And I have one more strategy for salary, and this is when you're in an offer stage and they give you a number, say you wanted 55 and they're telling you they can pay 50, and that's the max for some reason, whatever. You can give them a strategy and reach out to me if someone needs a copy of this. I think I still have the webinar I did on it years ago, but you can ask them, if I took this salary, could you do 52,000 and then get me closer to what I want by giving me a review at 6 months and an increment? So you're getting 6 months earlier increment from whatever it would be. It's just, I've had 2 people who've used that and said both times the HR people were stunned that they came up with something so creative and rarely used. So just think about ways that you can get them to recognize, oh, after 6 months, this is a valued employee. Yes, we will do X and Y, as long as their supervisor justifies X and Y.
Right.
So that's when you're just negotiating a couple $1,000s rather than saying, I'll have to settle for 50. See if, as someone said, you can push that negotiation. You don't want to make them annoyed. That's true. You don't want to keep coming back. The other thing, Linda, I think is, if I heard this correctly, even if you told them a lower number, Linda's already been through all the things about, leading them through what would you expect between the two, high and low. That's really great. But it's also okay for you to say, in our interview, I noticed that you were asking for Y and Z more than X. And so that to me is a more senior blah, blah, blah. So again, think about ways you can use your own perspective all of you are mid-level employees and senior employees. You've all had experience. Think about how you can use that phrase from their point of view. You want this value, I can bring it to you.
Right. And that's the important thing is, remember, they don't care necessarily what you want. They care what you bring. They care about the value you bring to the job. So it is up to you to sell that value. So Sue's idea about 6-month review, that's great. And the phrasing there is, once I've given myself the opportunity to prove myself and show you what I can do, okay, at that 6-month period, I'd like the opportunity to, right? Because by that point, you've already proven yourself. You've already found out what they need you to do in the first 6 months. You're going to check off all those boxes. And you're going to show them your value added, and that really helps. Okay. So it's always based on what I know now. Let's renegotiate. Let's talk about that 6 month if we need to. Think about, though, I know that benefits play a big part of it. And yes, you're looking at the total package, but you have to think about it from your own standpoint too. When you're going into any kind of a salary negotiation or thinking about anything, you have 3 numbers that you need to look at. Here's the bottom line. I need this amount in order to make it work. Okay? Or I can't pay my bills. Here's what I really want. Okay? What I think I'm worth. What the market says. Here's what I'm willing to settle for. So that you have those ideas in your mind as you walk into that conversation. You need to know what your walkaway number is. And don't be afraid to walk away if they don't have it right. So here's another tool that you can use as part of that negotiation. Let's say that they're not willing to meet your salary number now. I know that most of you don't want contract roles. You don't want those fractional roles. But the same way that you're asking for that 6-month review and getting that in writing if you can, why don't we start this out as a 3 to 6 month fractional role? Fractional says to them, you don't necessarily need benefits. And then at the end of that time frame, let's reevaluate, because by then I will have shown you X, Y, and Z, and then we can turn it into this kind of a role. That works. I've seen several people use that to their advantage. Okay. Joanne mentioned that she'd been in a temporary role now for a year. Yeah, it may go that way. But you've got the income coming in, you've got the internal references, you've got something new to add to your resume and portfolio. It still works. So there are lots of tools that you can use to get around that aspect. Okay, good, thank you. All right, Gita, is it Gita? Gita, how's pronounced that?
Geeta, right. My question is, how important is to keep that open to work banner on LinkedIn?
I know you're going to hear a lot of controversy about it, and I'm going to tell you that from my point of view, I like it a lot. Okay. Now, should it be on continuously? No. Put it on, take it off. Okay. Even if it's for a couple of hours and then put it back up again, at least once a month. My recommendation is at least every 2 weeks. That does is it refreshes it from the LinkedIn standpoint. It brings you back top of mind. Don't do it every week. Okay. Every week, especially if you're sending it out to your entire network, gets a little, I don't want to say redundant, but you want to make sure that you're adding value, not just that, hey, I'm looking for my next opportunity. When you're doing it, do your own post. Don't just use the LinkedIn post. But we know that you're 40 times more likely to get recruiter outreach if you have the banner up. We know that you're more likely to get conversations going with networking partners, people you've known before, and people you may not ever have met, because people know that you're interested and open and willing to talk.
Sure.
So unless you're employed, in which case I say don't put it up or make it recruiter only, I'd say go for it.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. I see another hand, I think. Who's the next one?
David McPherson.
Okay.
Hello. As a follow-up, I wanted to comment on the open to work, because Linda, you were exactly right that it does save some of the settings if you turn it off, but only the settings that have to do with hybrid or part-time. But if I want to put in a different title or something that's a change or some keywords, it's necessary for me to, type that all in. So I just do a screen snap whenever I do the open to work, but I wanted to thank you specifically for saying it's good to turn it off periodically, and even if it's only for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So just wanted to follow up. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Let us know how it works. Okay. And yes, I will tell you that you may get some more spam if you have it up, but I think the spam may be worth it. And there are ways of trying to get around, report that spam, delete it from your post. You can delete a comment, by the way. So go ahead and do that. Next question. I'm not monitoring the chat.
I didn't see any more questions there. I have 2 comments. One on the open to work banner. Many recruiters use LinkedIn to search for candidates, but they don't pay for the fancy recruiter tool. So the open to work signals them that they don't have to go anywhere beyond your profile and just open it and see it, and they know you're a viable candidate, number 1. Number 2, related to something totally different. I saw a comment, I don't remember exactly how it was wording, but it was about job hopping to get a better salary. Those days are long gone. If you have a job and it's a job you want, you've got to figure out if the offer is something you can make work for you. But don't go in expecting 6 months later to get out and get a new job. Everything I'm seeing, as Linda said, salaries have gone down dramatically. I mean, 10K and more. And
Yes.
so don't be short-sighted thinking it's never going to be what it was in 2021, 2022 in the COVID great resignation stage when people were job hopping. So
Right.
just be
So-
very careful. Do it knowingly and know that Linda and Ken and I will be here if you do.
Absolutely. So the idea is you want to make sure that this is the right fit for you. Okay. If the job is working for you, keep it, but don't, as Sue said, leaving now just for a salary increase is not the smartest move. If you are leaving because you think it is a better opportunity, a chance to grow your skill set, to contribute something different, that's fine. But do it without thinking about what that salary might be. That should not be your motivator to make those kinds of job hops. If you are in a temporary or contract job, temporary contract jobs, it's okay to keep the green banner up. They know that you're looking. It's also okay to continue. In fact, please, if you are in a temporary or contract job, continue to look for that next role. You never know where that's going to come from. One more thing in terms of the salary issue is that some people are trying to say, well, I've got, the salary is much lower than I wanted. How about a sign-on bonus? That's a trap.
Oh, that's a good.
A sign-on bonus is a trap, and here's the reason why. It looks great, but future salary increases don't include that as part of the mix. Your benefits aren't based on that additional number. So if they can give you that $2,500 sign-on bonus, they can give you $2,500 extra in terms of salary too. So negotiate wisely, but be very careful about that. Okay, I see a couple more comments. So
Yeah.
let me-
Joey Miller is next and then Shalia.
Yep. Okay, so trying to get these up.
Um,
Those of you who are using your treadmills or whatever it is, you're talking, I am jealous. Okay, I'd say you're motivating me, but only motivating me to talk. Okay, Joey.
Hi. So it's all about the LinkedIn profile these days. And from what I understand, there's some kind of a weighted average that goes per section. And I know there's a character count per section and everything else, but I was kind of wondering, I know the skills are important. I know the recommendations are important, experience section, all of it's important, and it's all based on keywords. But I was wondering, do you have like a 1 to 10 as to which sections are the hottest to fill out completely versus the other ones that are just kind of nice to round it off?
They all should be filled out. But in terms of what I'm going to see first, I'm going to see first your headline, right?
Mhm.
Your headline follows you throughout everything you do on LinkedIn. The first, I think it's 40, maybe up to 80 characters. It depends on the version. Those first number of characters of your headline will go on everything that you do. So you'll see it also if you're commenting. It's going to be Joey Miller, blah, 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 right? That's your tagline, the thing that you most want to be found for, the thing that helps you stand out. So that headline, incredibly important. When your name comes up in a search, I see that headline first. Maximize that. Okay, so that's number one. In terms of the experience, yes, the experience is important, honestly. You could fill in more of it. You can do whatever, add your skills to your experience section. That helps. But I'm not necessarily going to be reading everything in that experience section to start with. I'm going to skim that. The skills are important, especially in terms of endorsements. I'm sorry, go ahead, Sue.
I was just going to say, for experience, at least your last 2 to 3 jobs, make sure there's words under it.
Absolutely.
Impactful words that you use on your resume go on LinkedIn. increase the efficiency of processes to move the line to deliver on time by 35% through whatever your contribution was. So those are words for sure.
Absolutely.
But fill them in at least with those jobs. You don't have to do every job at this point.
I would like to see you have at least 1 to 2 bullets under every job if you're going to list it on LinkedIn. Okay, you don't need to do more than that. Remember, the resume is the specific for the job. The LinkedIn is generic. So they complement one another. And we need to make sure that they do. Your titles need to be the same on both. Your dates need to be the same on both. The information you include under the jobs can be different. Okay, so LinkedIn is generic. So yes, do you need to spend a whole lot of time on that experience section in your profile? No. I want you to spend time on the headline. I want you to spend time on the skills. I want you to spend time on your about section. And here's the reason why. And I will tell you that not everybody's going to read the about section, but LinkedIn does. The first 3 to 4 lines of that about section, that's your hook. That's going to make me as an individual, as a person, want to see whether or not I should read more. Okay, we know the system will read it. But your about section is your opportunity to tell me about you, about your journey, about your superpower, about the things you're looking for, about the titles that are interesting to you and why, about your top skills, okay? The things you most want to be found for. Here's your generic cover letter. The things that you do that you want to be found for that you can do for somebody else, right? And why? So if I'm talking about which sections I most want you to do, yes, they should all be filled out. But the headline, the skills, and getting those endorsements for the top skills, making sure that the 2 you most want to be found for are on your profile, you've reordered them, and your about section.
Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and one comment, and I don't mean this in any value judgment way, but it's not just keywords. You've got to explain, and that's where you've got 2,600 characters and about to talk about expertise. Show, don't tell. I did this, I did this, I did this. I have these skills. That's like laundry lists that go by all of our eyes. Give people stories. Linda was saying this. Give people examples of what you've accomplished, some of your big accomplishments that you're already preparing in your resume, in your cover letters, in your interviews. That's what you use it for. And yes, it's one of the big databases, but LinkedIn, before the algorithm change, had 52 databases that you can download in your profile. 52 places that they're searching for information on you that we've given them. So use the ones that count. Thanks, Linda, for those top 3. I think that's a great recommendation. And I'm going to need to drop off.
Thank you very much, Sue, for your help.
You're welcome. Good luck, everybody. See you soon.
Okay, so for those of you who do have to drop off, I want to remind you to copy the chat. We're going to stay on until 1:30. For those of you who can stay, you can come in and out as you need, but copy the chat so that you've got it. And there are 2 ways to copy it. Now I'm going to put it in our private group, but in addition, you can copy it yourself. And I will remind you again at the end of the meeting. You can go up to the top of the chat box where it says Career Search Lunch and Learn. There are 3 dots there. Click on the 3 dots and one of them says Save File or Save Chat. Do that, then you get the opportunity at the end of the meeting to figure out where you want to put it. That will be a text file. Now, the other way that you can do it is to click anywhere in that chat box and click Select All, and then copy, and then put it into a Word document yourself or a Google Doc. That gives you the opportunity to actually maintain all of those clickable links and in a format that's easier for you to read. So please do that. I will put it into our private group later, but I will warn you that some of those links don't always remain. Okay, next question. And please pronounce your name again for me.
It's Shalia.
Shalia, thank you.
Sure. Yeah, the walking desk I got because I was teaching during pandemic and Normally I'm hightailing it around the classroom. Okay, my two questions are, so first, if you are not applying on LinkedIn, you're going to the actual pages of the
Yes.
companies. Does LinkedIn hold that against you of like, they're not applying for anything? No. Okay,
not at all.
great.
In fact, the only reason LinkedIn keeps track of those numbers, when you see the clicks on the numbers of people applying, honestly, that's because LinkedIn uses that data to tell people who are posting jobs on LinkedIn, see, it works. You're getting the visibility. Here's why you should continue to pay for it.
Okay. And you had said that it's not actually applications, it's just people who've clicked on the job.
Correct.
Okay, awesome. Second question. I had been asked, so I'd been in a short chat with somebody, conversation. Here's where like what they call different places of LinkedIn, not quite sure. And asked for my resume, and when I went back to, I worked on it and went back to, and it seems like the message is gone. Am I looking in the wrong place? I thought it looked all over, but still. Am I looking in the wrong place, or did they just bail?
Can I say yes?
Yes.
So it depends on where they can, did they DM you with the request, or was it a part of a comment to a post? Do you remember?
I believe it was DM. I believe.
Okay. So if it was a DM, you should be able to type their name into the search bar in the DMs.
That implies that I remember their name.
Okay. The other thing that you can do is, unfortunately, you can just go scroll through. Okay.
Which I did, and I didn't. And I'm like, okay, let me go back 5 days, even though it was not 5 days, but I went back 5 days. I'm seeing nothing. I'm looking in a number of different places where messages are coming through. Nothing.
Yeah. So LinkedIn messages can be fun. Unfortunately, LinkedIn doesn't give us a great way to find them or to sort them. But it could be everything together, right? And which makes it really hard because the ones that had the most activity, the most recent activity, come up to the top. You can do by unread. You can file them as starred. By the way, what I would do is if somebody's asking for something, I would star it.
Okay.
That makes it easier. Then all you have to do is search your starred messages, and that will help. You can file your messages under archived. You can put them under other. So I would check all of those tabs.
Okay. I'll double check.
Okay. But that's the other reason, though, for keeping track. Remember those spreadsheets we were talking about? Whether you're talking about doing it on LinkedIn Jobs or whether you're doing it in your own spreadsheet or your own to-do list or whatever it is, have something set aside for you so that you know who you need to follow up with and why. And that helps. Because I admit, I get a lot of DMs, get a lot of email, and some things fall through the cracks for me unless I sometimes have to just go back through and see when was the last time I replied.
Right. But it is possible that they erased their stuff.
Yes,
and
they can delete it.
Okay. Just making sure that I did not, I wasn't losing my mind.
But they can delete
No
it.
comment.
They'll also add that if LinkedIn confirms that someone is illegitimate or misrepresenting themselves, they will delete that without that person deleting it. It's a way of maybe somehow purging fraud from the system.
Yes,
Awesome, because
absolutely.
I think that you are not wrong on this one, because I've looked at the particular listing and I was like, I don't remember it being listed that high. So, okay, great. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And I've had LinkedIn do that. I've also had LinkedIn ask me, okay, for some of those reach outs. Is this looks like spam to us. Is it something you want us to delete and block?
Sure.
Now, they haven't done that recently, even though there are some of them that I report. But the last one they did was, let's see. Somebody mentioned that in a post that I saw the other day that they got an invitation for a personal meetup, right? As in, gee, you look really pretty, and yeah.
Oh, hi, Creepy.
By the way, remember time boxing is
Yep.
a known phishing malevolent behavior where they try not to give you enough time to think about it or respond. So if you said, let me get my resume together and I'll get it back to you, you've probably taken longer than they're willing to invest because you may come back and say, I don't know if that fits or whatever. But if it's urgent, it's usually not legit.
Yep, exactly right. And if you ever question whether or not it looks legit, whether it is legit, you can't figure it out, let me know. I may not always be able to tell, but I'm another set of eyes, and I've got some pretty good BS detectors.
I love that. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Charles. Any next question? Charles, you had your hand up?
Yeah, Linda, I had a question. You had talked about it a couple of weeks ago. I don't really remember what you said, and I don't know how deeply you went into it. How do you address on LinkedIn? And you seemed, I recall you mentioning that it is worth calling out that you have been taking care of or dealing with a sick or ailing family member, if that's what's part of, been taking up some of your time. And I just wondered, could you cover that for me
Absolutely.
again?
So there are several different ways of doing that. Okay. Depends on, to some extent, whether or not it's your current or whether it's something else. But you gain a lot of skills by doing that. You can also include it on your resume, by the way, and I would talk about it slightly differently in both. In your, also in your cover letter, but on LinkedIn, don't use the LinkedIn drop-down box that says career break and it gives you the opportunities to do it.
Right.
Okay. They don't like that. Even it's one of those things that bothers me about LinkedIn. They give you the options and then they penalize you for using it. So don't do that. All right. But you can add that as either a new job, okay, or you can add it as an activity while you're doing other things. And in that, you're going to say, while looking for my next role as X, Y, and Z, okay, I spent some time doing this and this, which involved not just the caregiving, but it was the calendar management. It was the negotiations. It was the facilitation. It was the research. Okay. The project management, whatever it is that was involved. And I'll tell you, there's a lot that's involved that we can use as transferable skills.
Yeah,
Okay.
not insignificant.
Not at all.
It's really just a question of, I don't know. I mean, I remember a time you didn't tell people where you lived because you didn't want them to look up your house or know what area you lived in or whatever it was. It seems like you're sort of letting someone in the door. There are skills that you get from it. I get that. It's sort of just mentally wrapping my head around those pieces, I guess, is my challenge.
So we can talk about it. But the idea is, do you have to? No. Can you? Yes. And if you want to explain a gap, that is one way to do it. In a conversation or in your cover letter, I've been privileged to be able to spend some time taking care of a family member. The word privileged says a lot about you.
Right.
So, I had to. But, all right, I've been privileged to be able to take the time to do this, and it meant a lot to them. It's meant a lot to me. That situation has now resolved itself. And, while I was doing that, I was taking classes, I was doing this, I was gaining these skills, but that situation has now resolved itself. And I'm excited to be able to come back to a full-time role as.
Gotcha.
Okay. Anytime you're talking about caregiving, one of the things they want to know is this an ongoing situation? Will it continue to distract you? Because let's face it, caregiving is distracting.
Okay.
From a job search, right? But yes. So if you're looking for specific language and wording, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I hope the situation has resolved itself.
It's moving in a direction, and I see my involvement disengaging, which is great because I can focus on other things and I can hopefully be more confident that that's going the way it needs to go.
Okay. If you need to talk about it, let me know. I've got
Thank
other
you
reasons.
so much.
You're welcome. Okay. Next. Alexandra.
So I have, I'm just kind of getting on to the earlier conversation for I've been getting a lot of seemingly spammy kind of emails with like everything on my LinkedIn. And so those are spam. Is that what you're referring to? Okay.
Yes.
They
David.
legitimately have a LinkedIn profile. So what I did, I sent a message to the recruiter responding to the email. I didn't respond to the email because something was wrong on my email. So is that
What do you
kind
mean
of
something was wrong on your email?
even though it arrived in my inbox, the name didn't have the dots in them. So
That's an automatic. It didn't work. That's not real.
Well, Alexandra, just to clarify, because I have the same issue sometimes.
Okay.
If your Gmail, if your official email address is first name dot last name at Gmail or something like that,
Okay.
it also assigns you the email address of Alexandra Petsit without a dot, right? And it'll route those same emails to you, so that it's their effort to try and prevent someone from taking your email and stealing your emails.
So it could be legit, you're saying?
What I'm saying is Gmail will send you emails to your first name dot last name at Gmail,
Okay.
but also first name last name without the dot at gmail.com.
Okay.
So, but also what you want to do is check very clearly the sender's email, and it is
Yes.
legit. Just this morning, I received something that had a link to a valid LinkedIn profile. But the email address that she was sending wasn't even Gmail. It was a slight permutation on what I later found to be the actual authentic email address for that particular recruiting agency.
Yeah.
But it was so yeah, you really want to carefully inspect the sender's email and triple check it compared to their LinkedIn profile, or what you can find out about their official company address.
Exactly.
Yeah, this was Gmail. Yeah.
It was a recruiter who was sending something to you from Gmail?
Yes. So that's why I questioned it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I will
Fair
tell
enough.
you, there are some legitimate recruiters who use a Gmail address.
Okay.
Okay.
But typically
Okay.
not if they're with a larger company. They're
I was
going
gonna
to
say,
their corporate
exactly.
address.
If they
I
are
think-
solopreneurs, if they're working for themselves, they're independent recruiters,
Gmail.
Gmail they may have. But
Okay.
otherwise, if they are working for a company, it should be a company email
A
address.
company email, right? Okay. Fair enough. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Sorry. But good catch.
Thank you.
Hey, I think I'm next.
You are.
So I think this was addressed a little while ago, and I'm sorry I had to step away for a minute, so I'm not exactly sure. But I'm having trouble with the what to put on my experience because I haven't been working since November. And it's good to have a current job. So what's a good, like, you can put something in there as a job, but what's a good thing to call that?
So there are a couple of things that you can do. We call them placeholder jobs.
Right.
Okay. You can go to, several of you have used, I set up a company page for Career Search Lunch and Learn. Okay. Not our private group, but an actual company page for something called Career Search Lunch and Learn. And I think I'm trying to see some of you are, so Lorraine did it. Lorena did it, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what you do is you list yourself as contributor or facilitator. Okay. At Career Search Lunch and Learn, it becomes your current job. And your comments underneath is while looking for my next role as. So it still does that, but it lists you from the LinkedIn perspective. You've got a current job. And that's all that counts.
Okay, so we can actually go into Career Search Lunch and Learn as an employer. I'm sorry, I'm not
An
sure exactly.
employee.
I understand what you mean.
Yeah. You're listing yourself as an employee.
Okay, so if I go in, I'm sorry, I'm just not sure how that works. So if I go in and I add a new job, okay, so
So-
if I say, I would go into my experience and I say
Yep.
add, and I say add position, and
Yep.
then the title, I'll come up with something, and the company or organization is, I can search on Career Search Lunch and
Lunch and
Learn.
Learn.
Oh, I
think
see,
that-
I see. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I see that.
You have a
Okay,
blue logo
okay.
that shows
And
that
then
it's
just
blue.
put
Yeah.
contributor. Okay.
Contributor, right? And then you can put a couple of comments in there if you want to. What that does is it lists it from the LinkedIn perspective as
Mhm.
being something that's legit, that you are currently working. Including something that other things that you're doing at the same time also helps.
Mhm.
Okay. Continuing to be active on LinkedIn also helps. But you can even add skills to that role. Right?
Okay.
Yes, it's a placeholder, but it's a placeholder that from the LinkedIn perspective, it works.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. One more thing. Here's what I recommend. Is that when you do that, LinkedIn gives you, every time you add a new job or you change a title, LinkedIn gives you the option of sending it out to everyone. No, I'm going to suggest that you do. And here's why. Especially if you're including the fact that you're doing other things while you're there. Because it immediately will generate interest in your profile. You're going to get people who are responding to that post. It generates that kind of response. My gut, Lorraine, I don't know how many people you got or whether you announced it to people. Did you?
I believe I did, but this was a while ago. I think we did it when you first
When I first put it
introduced
out.
it, yeah, to the group.
Okay, so my gut tells me you will get at least 500 likes. Or not necessarily likes, but 500 people who are clicking into the profile, into the post. That increases your visibility, which is the other reason that I said it's not just here's what the job is, okay? But you're adding some of the other things you're interested in, other things you're doing at the same time. It draws attention. And I know it sounds, you know, it's not a real job. I know it's not a real job. We don't care. LinkedIn, we don't care. Okay.
All right. Thanks.
You're welcome. The other thing is you can go actually into just careers pages. You can set up your own company if you like. Remind me what it is you do, you're looking for.
User experience design.
Okay. So you could set up your own user design experience consulting or contracting company page. Company page is free to do. Okay. So if you're doing anything while you're looking, you can include it there. Okay. You can also just go into LinkedIn's company pages and find one that says user experience design or something similar, IT design, IT consulting, whatever it is, but they'll have lots of them that are, again, those placeholder companies. Don't look at where the company is located. Okay, check to see whether or not it's legit. Probably is. It's going to be one of those placeholders is what you're looking for. But again, you can affiliate yourself with that. That's why those were put there. Okay, and if you do that and you keep the green banner at the same time, it's that double whammy. Or I shouldn't say double whammy, double visibility, right? Not double whammy. Okay. Okay. By the way, if you do that, if you do add in the Career Search Lunch and Learn as your company, let me know so that I can celebrate it both from the company page and from me. Perfect. Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm next.
You are. Thank you for waiting.
No, of course. Quick question. I have been searching for a job since May. Well, not actively since May. I lost my position in May, took a little time off. I'm sorry?
The job lost you. You didn't lose it.
Yeah, well, thank you. And so that gap that's becoming longer and longer, how do you explain that? I mean, I have been actively searching. I have been reaching out. I have been networking. I did take a course, a class on coaching, but that's not really fitting for the roles that I'm looking for. So how do you explain that?
You don't actually have to. We understand the job market is tough. It really, truly is. We're finding that the average, and I know you all don't want to hear this, but the average length between jobs right now is getting longer and longer. It's not unusual to see gaps of a year and a half or more. And I hate to say that, but it's true. So it's not the stigma that it used to be. Gee, you got laid off, now what? What have you been doing? You've been sitting home. What my husband teases, you're eating bonbons, right? I have no idea what a bonbon is. But the idea is you're doing something. So what you want to do is, while looking for my next job, I've been updating my skills and doing this, or I've been volunteering. So you can add volunteer roles. Okay? You can add that caregiving role. You can add that placeholder company. But yes, do I want you to, if you can, to take a class or two, even if it's a 1-hour LinkedIn class, and then add it to your profile, you're still upping your skills. You're doing something.
Okay.
Okay. So what's your area?
Legal operations, regulatory controls, governance.
Okay. The government market is really awful right now. Okay. But what we're starting to see is from the private sector, some of those roles are coming. Okay. So that shift is going to be important. But taking a class or two, even if it isn't directly related, I'd like it to be something, but something that you can relate somehow to that is useful. So here are a couple of tips. If you have, are you a paid member or a free member?
Paid.
You've got access to everything LinkedIn Learning. Search for go into, you want a quick use for AI?
Sure.
Okay. Here's a tip for all of you. If you want to figure out what kinds of classes you should take to upgrade your skill set, find 10 to 20 job postings that you would really like to apply for. Copy them. You can't just copy a link because most AIs don't read the links. Okay, but find them, copy them into a document, upload those documents into your favorite AI. Ask it to search those postings. And then find the skills, the tools that those jobs are looking for. Have them give you the top 5 to 10 that run throughout the majority of those jobs. And it can, even if you ask it, rank them. How many of these jobs are looking for this? Take the ones that are highest priority. That's where you want to start getting your classwork done first. Every time you add a skill, every time you take a class and you announce it somewhere, add it to your profile somewhere, okay? Do a post, even if you're not doing it through LinkedIn, because LinkedIn automatically goes, right? Hey, I just took a great class in such and such, and I'm so excited to be able to apply that here. It's not I just took the class, but how would you apply it? Here's what I learned that I hadn't thought about before, how to use this. Now it becomes a post, it becomes part of your skill set, it becomes another visibility, and it's another, here's what I was doing, is I was upgrading, I was learning something new, I was enhancing. Not everything has to cost you money. In fact, most things don't. So LinkedIn is a good one. If you haven't taken a class in AI, even if it's just AI familiarity, take one.
Thank you.
Okay. You don't need to be a prompt expert. You don't need to be a prompt engineer. You do need to understand how to employ it within an organization. And from that strategic standpoint, okay, how do you make use of that kind of information? So that's another way of doing it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay. We actually did go almost the full hour and a half. Not bad. Okay, so I do have time for one more question if you like. Otherwise, what I'd like to do, and thank you all of you who stay here, because we've got a good group today. So here's what I'd like, is if you have ideas for future sessions, I really want to know. These sessions work best when they work for you. So I want to know the things you want to know, what kinds of topics we should cover, what speakers you'd like. We already have several lined up for the next couple of months, but I'm still filling in blanks. So I want to make sure, as I said, that these work. So if you have ideas, please share them anytime. You can share them in the chat. You can share them in a private message. You can send them to me in an email. You can put them in our private group. Just make sure you label it so that I find it and tag me. By the way, for those of you who are tagging people, the way that you tag people, make sure that it's relevant, but you use the @ sign, okay, over the number 2, and tag their name, find their name, and then click on it. That tags them. It has to be the full name, and you have to actually click on the name in that drop down when it comes up. Tagging people, as I suggested, for example, if you're going to be joining the Career Search Lunch and Learn as an employee kind of thing to add something to your resume, that helps. If you are tagging an organization, I just took such and such a course through Google, write it in. Share the ability for other people to take it as well and to learn from you. There are lots of ways that you can increase not only your visibility, but talk about what you have been doing while you're looking, as well as improving the skill set you have to make yourself more marketable as you move forward. So there's all of that. I'm going to do this. Okay. I'm going to remind you all 2 things. Actually, I'm going to stop the live.